Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third video blog of the day for Sunday, December 27, 2015, around 5:09 in the afternoon. It's raining out, about in the mid-40s. Didn't reach 50 today as they were predicted, but those things happen. But it's warmer than average, but this is probably going to be the last warmer than average day for a few days because changes are on the way back to winter, back to reality. Tomorrow's highs in the mid-30s, and that sets the stage for something Monday night and Tuesday morning that we haven't had this winter season. Winter weather advisory: snow, sleet, freezing rain, and just plain rain. All of southern New England, except for the coast of Connecticut, east of the Narragansett Bay in Rhode Island, the southern coast of Massachusetts, and the Cape and the Islands are not involved in the winter weather advisory. It's just going to be a brief period of snow, maybe just a small coating, then quickly changing to cold, wet rain. Some news to report: the New York Jets beat the New England Patriots by the score of 26-20 in overtime. Patriots could not get home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. And also, the Carolina Panthers' perfect season's over. The Atlanta Falcons beat them by the score of 20-13, keeping the slim playoff hopes for the Falcons. And Phoenix Suns head coach Jeff Hornacek's job's in serious jeopardy. That's about it on the news. My third video blog subject of the day is about the Herb Abrams UWF Universal Wrestling Federation that lasted from the fall of 1990 through 1994. Herb Abrams was a promoter that he wanted professional wrestling to return to its roots. It was based out of California, and they had a decent lineup of wrestlers, including Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, Steve Dr. Death Williams, Cowboy Bob Orton, the Killer Bees, B. Brian Blair, Jim Brunzell, Danny Spivey, Andre the Giant, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Ivan Koloff, Ken Patella, Billy Jack Haynes, Cactus Jack, and so many others. And they did a lot of TV tapings in California and in New York and in Florida. They had a television contract with Sports Channel America, and they showed the Fury Hour. That was a weekly television program, and calling it was at first Herb Abrams and the living legend Bruno Sammartino. They were the commentating team for about a few months, but Herb Abrams was awful as a play-by-play announcer. He was replaced, I think, a few months into the show by Craig George and Bruno Sammartino, which they lasted for a couple of years. And then they had Craig G. George and John Tolis, who was also the coach in WWE, for a brief cup of coffee. And the television show was pretty good. They had a segment, a talk show called Captain Lou's Corner, while Captain Lou Albano interviewed several wrestlers, and it was a good talk show segment and stuff like that. Usually, the matches on UWF were many of them were squash matches. They had even some of the jobbers that Herb Abrams would name. It would be Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller. They weren't the dirt sheet riders. They were two jobbers that he named and stuff like that. And the UWF, the wrestlers who were doing the promos, like David Sammartino and Jimmy Valiant and Billy Jack Haynes, were saying that the UWF was a real wrestling federation returning to the roots. They said the other professional wrestling organizations were making a mockery of professional wrestling and stuff like that. And this was at around the time that WWE and WCW were the only two major league wrestling promotions around, and UWF was trying to get its foot in the door as the number 3 wrestling promotion. What they had with the talent roster I told you about, it was pretty good. They later on had Colonel De Beers, Bam Bam Bigelow, the Blackhearts, who was one of them was like Dave Heath, who became Gangrel in the WWE. They had Steve Ray, who was like, he did a beach gimmick, Dr. Death Steve Williams. The list went on and on and on. They even had Ravishing Rick Rude do a couple of TV tapings, and Big John Studd and others, and it was getting good. They even had a pay-per-view called UWF Beach Brawl, and it happened in Florida in like June of 1991, but it was a total flop because the buy rate was 0.10 and stuff. They had Bob Backlund wrestle Ivan Koloff at one of the main events for that. The main event was Dr. Death Steve Williams beating Bam Bam Bigelow for the UWF television title and stuff. And around September of 1991, the UWF stopped producing weekly television shows. Herb Abrams got himself into a lot of trouble with many of the local promoters because they had did some spot shows and television shows. He wasn't paying the local promoters money and stuff, and he was being one, he made a lot of enemies and stuff like that. And Herb Abrams trademarked the UWF name, Universal Wrestling Federation. It was actually used several years earlier by Cowboy Bill Watts when he rebranded Mid-South Wrestling as Universal Wrestling Federation, but Bill Watts did not register the UWF trademark, so Herb Abrams did it like around in the summer of 1991, and then the UWF infrequently had cards in 1992 and 1993. He was trying to get the UWF back up and running as like an alternative for the WWE or WCW, but he could not get people to sign with him because of him being unreliable and stuff, and he did some things outside of the wrestling business that was real shady and stuff. The UWF had its last promoted card in September of 1994, Blackjack Brawl, which happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. Herb Abrams and Blackjack Milligan called it. The main event was Steve Dr. Death Williams facing off against Psycho Sid Vicious for the UWF World title, plus they had other great matches on the card. It was seen nationally in Sports Channel America, but that was the last UWF card ever, because shortly thereafter the UWF never promoted another card again because Herb Abrams just blackballed. He stiffed a lot of the wrestlers there. And the sad thing about it, Herb Abrams passed away in July of 1996 at the age of 42 of an apparent suicide, and he was into doing a lot of cocaine and stuff. And when he was found dead, he was covered with a prostitute. That's unbelievable and stuff that way. What a way to go out of this world, having it being dead with a prostitute on you. That's probably some people's dream, is that's the way for them to go out of this world and stuff like that. That's a sad story about Herb Abrams and stuff. He had a son who called Herb Abrams Jr., and many times there was rumors Herb Abrams Jr. wanted to revitalize the UWF, but to no avail. Herb Abrams had a relationship with somebody who worked at the Playboy play club somewhere, and the tape library for the UWF is owned by some indie wrestler, and they showed reruns of it on ESPN2 in the 1990s and ESPN Classic, but it has not surfaced on the WWE network and stuff. And I don't know if it ever will, but you never know these days because the WWE needs programming and stuff for classic wrestling and stuff. And I've seen the UWF a few times on like ESPN Classic, a few times on like ESPN Classic, and I had a few old videotapes of the UWF that I got years ago. It was a pretty good organization. I think they were trying to be like an alternative, but they had so many veteran wrestlers and stuff, which, you know, that they were names, but most of them were over the hill and stuff like that, and they were just, you know, it was just a TV company, in my humble opinion. Just they didn't do too many house shows. And so that's about it on the UWF. The fourth and final video blog's coming up. It will be about MBTA bus route 430 that goes from Malden Center to Saugus Center via the Square One Mall in Saugus, Massachusetts. Keep calm, everybody. I'm Julie Guy, Molly Rosenblatt of WCCO Channel 4 in Minneapolis, St. Paul Rock, and she has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart, so stunning, and she's my favorite Elizabeth in the world. Amy Swansea's the best. Barbara Gibbs of ABC 11 has a sweet Southern accent. Don Mitchell of Fox 9 in Minneapolis, St. Paul rocks as well. And in the words Sean Lucha, get out. See you later.